Hello guys, girls and gamers, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the Nintendo GameCube, but before we begin, I would love to remind you guys to please like and subscribe. Also, comment down below because I really want to start a discussion with my videos. But that said, let's get into the actual topic of this video. So, I mentioned GameCube, and GameCube's position in Nintendo's history is quite interesting because Nintendo is quite well known to be kind of like this nostalgia company. They do a lot with nostalgia. They try to sell you nostalgia over and over again. Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, the games from your childhood, you remember them, they are classics, you love them, and you want to buy them over and over again. And Nintendo does an okay job at providing like nostalgic content for the consumers. They do a lot of callbacks to their earlier games and earlier consoles, but one console that is often excluded from this is the Nintendo GameCube. The best example of this is we have just never ever gotten GameCube in Virtual Console or even Nintendo Switch Online as it is nowadays. We have gotten SNES, NES many times, even like mini consoles of those. We have gotten, for the Wii U, we have gotten Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, even Wii and DS games in the Virtual Console, but never GameCube. And nowadays in the Nintendo Switch Online, we have the NES, SNES, Sega Genesis for some reason, or Mega Drive, I don't remember which one, I don't have the expanded tier, and the Nintendo 64. And of course, there have been many rumors that GameCube could be added any day now. Any day now. But I'm not sure if it's gonna happen. So, what's going on with GameCube? Does Nintendo not like this part of their history? Or is there something else going on that is kind of preventing Nintendo from celebrating GameCube and the loads of magnificent games that were meant for that system? And then, of course, all of those amazing games that were for that system. Where are they? I want to play them. So I think the first reason to why Nintendo is kinda neglecting the GameCube is just because, believe it or not, GameCube was not that successful. And a lot of people forget this. A lot of people remember the cool games that the GameCube had. But honestly, the GameCube, considering Nintendo's position at the time, the GameCube was kind of a flop. It only sold like 21 million copies, the console altogether. And that is bad. That is not good. If you want a comparison, the competitors were Xbox and PlayStation at the time. Nintendo's previous console, the N64, was also considered kind of a failure, and it sold 10 million copies more than GameCube did. So, yeah. And when it comes to the games, they didn't sell that well either. The best-selling game for the Nintendo GameCube, I think, was Super Smash Bros. Melee. And that game only managed to sell 7 million copies. While of course 7 million copies is good for any game, but being the best-selling game for your console, it's not that good. Especially considering like Nintendo has all of these classic cool masterpieces called classic games, and it feels like GameCube doesn't have any of those. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of amazing games for the GameCube. You have The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Super Smash Bros. Melee, two amazing Pokemon games, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which I really want to play, but Nintendo has not given me an opportunity to do so. And then it was the birthplace to a couple of series, like for example, Pikmin. But when it comes to like some of the big titles, like I mentioned, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, all are for this console. But they are a bit controversial, all of those. A lot of people don't speak about Pokemon Colosseum and XD because they are the odds one out when it comes to the Pokemon series. They're kind of main series, but at the same time, no one considers them to be so. Then, Super Mario Sunshine to this day is kind of controversial to how that game is built. And then there is, of course, Wind Waker, which is very, very beloved today, but at the time, people hated that art style. So it didn't really get the attention that Nintendo needed at the time. People really did not like Wind Waker at the time. So that is one thing why Nintendo probably doesn't want to do much GameCube content, because while the GameCube is great, it does require a lot of, well, some effort to do emulation for it. And the base, the player base, is surprisingly small. A lot of people have a nostalgia for GameCube, but I suspect they are very much a vocal minority when it comes to other games and consoles. You know, the N64, while only selling 10 million more, it had those evergreen titles. It had Mario 64, it had Ocarina of Time. So many cool games. And those do sell more than Super Mario Sunshine. Not saying that these games are bad, just saying that they aren't the all-time classics that Nintendo usually produces. And if the player base is low, like 20 million people bought GameCube, and there's no, while good games, there's no like all-time evergreen classics, then maybe it's not worth it. I really hope that someday we will get GameCube content, but it's not a priority when it comes to like other consoles and other kind of games. Maybe port a few, but that's it. Another thing is that why Nintendo doesn't really do GameCube Virtual Console or much GameCube content is just, well, how to put this nicely, games of previous systems are not as appealing to people as brand new games. Of course, a lot of people in the gaming sphere love playing retro games, love playing games for older consoles. But when I'm talking about people here, I am mainly referring to like the mainstream audience, other than hardcore gaming population, other than people who are terminally online and defending Nintendo on Twitter. Not those people. I'm talking about your regular Joe who has a job that has nothing to do with games and then occasionally buys a Mario game and has a Nintendo Switch that they play with their kid and those kind of people. I'm talking about those people. For them, the new games are what matters, unless it's something they are highly nostalgic for. But it's always about the new games. Unless you are making a subscription service, because then what matters is the amount of content that you have. But Nintendo is still a bit hesitant about moving to subscription services, unlike someone like, Xbox, Microsoft, and their Game Pass. They are very full on about this service. They are selling you a service. But Nintendo is very traditional when it comes to gaming. Nintendo franchises are huge sellers, they have huge appeal, and even a bad Mario game will sell millions and millions of copies. That's the Nintendo magic. And Nintendo wants to rely on this business strategy or just like making games, not giving out games for free and expecting people to pay a monthly fee. They are very traditional, so they just make a product and sell it. That's their plan. And if in the future Nintendo wants to do a bit more with subscription services, they have already kind of started out their own subscription service with Nintendo Switch Online. So if suddenly a boom comes that really makes the subscription services the only viable method of delivering games to your customers and makes it way more profitable than just making out singular games and making, stores sell them. If that happens, then Nintendo is a bit prepared, and then they can like start bolstering or making their already existing streaming service or the Nintendo Switch Online service, whatever it will be called in the future. It's about a name, please change it. I don't want to open Nintendo Switch Online on my next console that is not called the Nintendo Switch. Makes sense. But anyways, if there is suddenly a shift in the gaming industry that favors, streaming services a lot, then I think Nintendo will bring GameCube along with many, many other uh, systems, consoles, and games. They will start pushing that and then also making new games on the side. That's kind of like what Xbox is doing to a degree. Not really, but Xbox still Game Pass has a lot of like Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, kind of has like more content and more stuff to offer. But even in that ecosystem, what matters is the big modern games that you get to play. That is kind of a shame. I wish more people cared about like retro games or games from different generations, but that's just how it is, and all new shiny things are always more interesting to people. So it is a bit of a shame that Nintendo has been kind of neglecting GameCube, but and I don't think it will be coming anytime soon, which is unfortunate. I would really, really love to play some of those kind of smaller but still really good GameCube games like Super Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, or Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I don't think it had Super in its name. But yeah, I'm starting to ramble again, so I think it's a good time to cut this video here. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this topic. Comment something nice, I will be sure to reply. But I have nothing else to say here, so I will just see you guys next time. Bye bye.